So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot.
Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Places, people, places. Miss Bridget. Camera, action. And welcome back to another episode of the LaTangela Show podcast. You know, it always does my heart well to have this time together. Well, we can chat about this and chat about that. I am the queen of random research, but I love to get the facts straight and go to the heavy hitters that's doing the real work, especially when you're talking about those who are leading with style and grace, but they are in every place and the spaces where you have to lead with compassion. You have to do it from a place that your heart is leading you on this journey. And Capital Area Human Services, let me tell you, they have been busy, they have been present, and today we have them in the hot seat and on the tan line. How are you?
Happy to be here.
Thank y'all so much for taking time out of your schedule, because I know that you're busy, and I promise not to hold you long. We'll be done before dinner.
That's a long time. And I eat a lot, so let's go.
Okay. Now look, we're gonna have to do a quick roll call because Bridget Lewis, this is your first field trip to the Madhouse. Just don't let it be your last, okay? Director of Prevention and Wellness Services for Capital Area Human Services. Tell me a little bit about that position itself. I mean, I know the work that you do, and I can only imagine what comes across your desk on a daily. So tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
Well, again, thank you for having us. And I am Bridget Lewis, the Director of Prevention and Wellness Services. I've been in the field of prevention for about 10 years now, in this particular position for about 1 year. So I'm still settling in. I'm new, but not quite new. So here at Capital Area, just to give you a little background, Capital Area was established in 1997, and we are the public service provider for addictive disorders, developmental disability services, and mental health. We do serve 7 parishes, including Ascension, East and West Feliciana, East and West Baton Rouge, Iberville Parish, and Point Capee.
So y'all been busy.
Absolutely. We are always busy all the time.
Yeah.
There are no days off in the land of prevention.
Right.
And so in prevention, I oversee numerous state grants. We have evidence-based school curriculums, community outreach programs. So you name it, we do it.
Yeah. And you have an amazing team. I have to say that they're a family. It's a family reunion. Your prevention coordinators, and that's just to put an umbrella over the zillion things that they're doing on the scene, behind the scenes, with the scenes, day in and day out. Alicia and Ricki, how are you?
Wonderful.
Good. Listen, I know that you all are working so hard to make sure that you're coordinating the right people and places and situations to bring healing in a space where families may need it the most. As a prevention coordinator, tell me a little bit about your job and what looks like the to-do list for you for the week. If you had that one goal for the week, that's going to get us started. Top of 2025.
Go ahead, Ricki.
All right, Alicia, pass me the ball. Top goal is always getting that Narcan in the hands of those that is needed. So right now, we want to look at Narcan as a first aid kit. If someone has a headache, you have medicine in your purse to do so, right? To give them the relief of a headache. If you have a Band-Aid, you have someone have a cut, you will give them the Band-Aid. So Narcan should be used as a reversal kit to help others to go through the process of recovery. And so we actually want to get that in the hand. So our goal is always looking for opportunities and events, community events, as well as Recovery Center, which we'll get into that in just a few minutes, about how we can get more Narcan on the street so that we can keep decreasing the numbers of opioid overdose rates so it can go down, not up. We want them to go down.
And just making sure that, we get the
have the empathy as well as the compassion of those who are struggling with addiction, and let them know that, they're not alone, and, we're here to help in any way that we can. So that's why we try to be at all the events and making sure that we cover, every area that we can, because we also give them other information about mental health as well.
Right. And I'm glad that you brought up the fact about the Narcan and having the empathy. Bridget, when you're leading in a space where you have to have that empathetic tone, but you have to be informative, and yet you can't go in and be timid with this because lives are dwindling on the other end of that decision of having the tools, having the education to give those who may need it. What does that look like? Opioids, it's something that we hear about, but we may not really know about it. So break that down for maybe the first time parent that is now dealing with a teenager, and you see the billboards, you hear them talking about things on social media. Opioids, what is it?
So the thing about opioids is, and in prevention, we have a saying, no stigma, no judgment. And so the interesting thing about opioid use disorder is that it has no color, it has no class, it has no face. And a very common way that individuals become addicted to opioids is very innocent. You can go in for routine dental work and you're prescribed an opioid, you take it, you like it, you can't get access to it anymore. So you move on to something that you can get access to, and it becomes, an addiction. And so just to backtrack a little bit, the reason that what brought us here today is because in 2018, Capital Area was awarded funding, grant funding known as the Louisiana State Opioid Response Grant. And this grant was to educate the public on opioid use disorder. And with those funds, we've been able to do that in a variety of different ways. Ricki mentioned that we've been able to obtain and distribute Narcan to the public, provide educational trainings on how to administer Narcan effectively. We have school curriculums because, again, we're in prevention. So our goal is to prevent it before it becomes a problem. So we have evidence-based curriculums for the youth in the school system known as Generation RX, where we educate the youth on, the dangers of opioid use. So we attack it in a variety of different ways. We target the youth, but we attack it through youth and adults, and we also have faith-based initiatives where we go into the churches and we speak to church congregations about the dangers of opioid use disorder, and we also distribute toolkits as well. So a lot of different ways we approach this, and again, it has no name, no face, and so we just, try to reach out to everyone that we can.
Yeah, and that's big because, when people are faced with addictions, there's this stigma that comes along with it. And stating that it does not discriminate is just one decision away. You never know how you're going to walk into that situation. It could be something as simple as a dental appointment. It could be something as simple as someone giving you the wrong headache medicine, and all of a sudden it feels different, and now it's there. How do you walk the person through and say that you may need addiction recovery, or you may need to speak with someone, because that's a whole nother threshold. It takes a while before someone is comfortable enough to say, okay, let me go to, realhelpbr.com and say that I need help. What are some of those symptoms or signs that we should look for to at least start that conversation with those who need it most?
So when we're out in the community and we're talking to the community and we're educating the community, we also give out our flyers, which have all of our information regarding treatment and how to go about requesting an appointment. We let the public know that we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists, we have social workers who can go in more depth about the treatment resources that we have. And we try to bridge the gap, between the community and treatment, because it's not always easy to ask for help.
And I've been going through the website. It's very impressive. When you start talking about the things that you provide, you all lead with providing hope, because you don't want people to feel as if they don't see that light at the end of the tunnel, because this is a very sensitive walk that a lot of people take. And, addiction and recovery, it's a daily walk. So you don't just walk up and wave this magic wand and everything, because it could be a different trigger for different people. But when you're talking about the substance abuse, you're talking about behavioral health, and the things that work hand in hand. When you're walking through these 7 parishes, how do you as prevention coordinators know how to deliver the message and when?
It's all about your delivery. You have to be a people person. You cannot be afraid to really go out and get it. Alicia and I, we're a tag team of of one. I'm gonna say together, we're like one of a kind, because at the end of the day, we have the personality to be able to get the information in the hands of those that need it, but also to connect with individuals or family members that may be going through the process with their loved one. They don't know how to start the conversation, and they don't feel safe are comfortable having a conversation with their loved one or even with their church members. And that's where the faith-based toolkit come in place at. But I want to back up when you asked the question to Bridget about us being able to about the medications and stuff like that, thinking about how we teach medication safety to our younger children, but we also teach it to our senior citizens as well. So when someone has an addiction, they may go to the doctor, like you said, for that prescription of oxycodone, and now they are now addicted to oxycodone, and now they want something higher. And when they want something higher, they're going to go out into the street to be able to get something higher, right? We don't know how that process starts because of their generations or was already within their bloodstream, it was always in their brain. However, we're here to have a conversation with that family member to be able to tell them, hey, here's our information. We're capital air, and we're warm, we're loving, and we're just listening. And we see a lot of families doing outreach events, as well as when we go out to the churches and we tell them all the services that we do offer, as well as at our Narcan training. We give different scenarios of how, if this was a plane that was flying over the state right now, and it literally had 2,000 people, 200 people to die on that plane. We're seeing that plane, it kind of like it crashed. We're like, okay, well, the plane crashed. We don't know why. The next day, 200 more people, the plane crashes again. The next day, 200, they're going to finally say, okay, we're going to land all planes. We don't know what's going on, why these planes are just dropping from the sky. That's the same way how we see overdose right now. We are having people overdose every day. You may have 200 people a day that's having an overdose, and we're not throwing the red flag out and saying, or white flag saying, hey, we need to stop this. What are we going to do? So we're there. We're here to help give them the information with a warm, bubbly face, but also tell them, hey, there is hope and there is no judgment. And we're here to listen to you because we have family members that may have been struggling with addiction before. Alicia tell her story about her brother all the time. I saw it in my family. And I jokingly say, you know, hey, I never did drugs before because, hey, I already saw how it affected my family, but I'm here for you and to listen to you at the same time. And here's information that you can contact us. And we do try to connect people to our websites and stuff like that so they'll know that we're out there, and we do try to post more of our engaging community events so they can know that we're out in the community. We're not behind the desk just saying, hey, give us a call and with a commercial here and there. We're out in ruggage of things. We were out with the homeless a couple of weeks ago. So we're there just to be able to get it to the right people at the right time.
Absolutely. I see y'all everywhere. And Alicia,
Yeah.
you were very adamant about making sure that we bridge this gap to have an open line of communication to educate and empower listeners and viewers about learning what the Narcan is all about. Ricki, you touched on it earlier about Narcan. And, you know, Bridget, we hear the word Narcan, but what is it? How does it work? Where do we get it from? Do we just walk in our local grocers and say, give me a can of Narcan, and I just keep it somewhere? How do I store it? How do I administer it? Like, what does that look like in the process?
Okay. Narcan is an overdose reversal kit, and it's also known as to help anyone that's actually going into an overdose stage. Even if you don't know for sure if they have opioids in their system, it still won't harm them. And you can purchase Narcan, at your local drugstore. I think it's like $45, a box. But we do Narcan training, and if you want Narcan, we also distribute Narcan at our driving into recovery events at all 7 parishes when we actually are there. But I want to piggyback on what we were talking about when it comes to how you approach to me, to the people that are dealing with addiction. That could have been one of us. And like we said, we actually have family members that actually have been through addiction, and it can be a genetic or environmental thing. But I find that when I approach them and knowing that they have some type addiction is going on, I'm very, very calm, really soft with them,
Yeah.
opposed to dealing with, a person that's all over the place, they high, whatever. It's like, hey, calm down, Brie, calm down, so they understand that I accept them for who they are.
Yeah, that's big. You have to meet me where I am and help me
Yeah.
get from here to where I need
And
to.
I love you anyway. Whatever I can
Yeah.
do to help you, here's some resources here. I mean, we even go, and Ricki didn't say, but we go really deep because some of them say, I need rental assistance. We try to find whatever resources. We need food. That's why at the Driving into Recovery, we try to, provide boxes of food because they can deal with so many, and you want to do whatever you can to keep that stability of living life.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
hard to
big.
think about treatment when your basic needs aren't met. So,
Exactly.
we definitely try to make sure we cover all bases by partnering with the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. Our last Drive Into Recovery, we did a turkey giveaway. So we try to, combine a variety of different resources, not just the Narcan, but just, we try to meet them where they are and fill in the gaps wherever we can.
Yeah,
And we have so many community partners that we actually have, along with us at the Driving Into Recovery. So it's all type of resources that they actually get that's from that particular community. Because what I try to do, Ricki and I, is with whatever parish that we're in, we use organizations and businesses from that particular parish that they're familiar with.
that's good. Trusted sources. And
Yeah.
Bridget, there are so many baby steps that families can do collectively to get us to the bigger goal of the prevention side. We kind of take it for granted that it's not on our doorstep, so it's not a big deal. But you all have made it very clear that it could be on our doorstep at any given moment. So even for those extra prescriptions that's just laying around the house, to discard those properly, how do we do that to make sure that we're keeping it out of reach of harm's way before we even think that it's a hazard?
So we approach that in a couple of different ways. When we are hosting our Drive Into Recovery events and other community outreach events, we provide doTERRA bags, which are bags that can chemically dissolve unwanted medications. We stress the importance of this we'd rather you do this rather than dispose of them improperly, like flushing them down the toilet or down the drain to contaminate the water supply. So we educate the public on the availability of doTERRA bags. And we also partner with the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office during the DEA Take Back Days. They're held twice a year. And we always make sure that we're on the scene to again administer doTERRA bags and just connect with the public on medication safety.
Yeah, I like that. And while we're educating those, home, school, church, those have always been cornerstones in our community. So working with your faith-based toolkit, how can we help get these toolkits in the hands of pastors and without the resentment, with them, the pastors being educated as of what it is and why we want to educate their congregation and why we need them to be an advocate along with us?
Oh, for me, I'm going to speak for the faith-based toolkit portion of it because it's really something that's major, right? We don't want to mix faith and mental abuse or mental health before, but now we have to because right now it's bigger than just giving a scripture. There are a lot of scriptures on addiction, and we need to make sure that we're getting the right words and the right information to be able to share with their loved ones. They may not actually have anyone in their family immediately, but they may have a neighbor, they may have a sister or a brother, or it may be someone that is just struggling with addiction that just came home from jail and now they're out back in the world and they're trying to get themselves together and here they're having what I call peer pressure. So
Yeah.
our faith-based initiative actually began when we came out into the community. Again, it's grant funded as well, but we're going out into the community and we're actually meeting with the pastors and contacting the pastors and the churches and the secretaries to say, hey, we have this awesome faith-based toolkit. It has the information on conversation starters. It talked about the signs of addiction and how addiction actually begins. We have
Yeah.
social media posts as well as on this toolkit, as well that they can post on their social media pages. If their church members are following their pages, they can be able to see these different messages and sayings that they can use part of their church bulletins, again, social media websites. But the most important thing is being able to start the conversation so that they can know they have a safe place to go to their leaders to be able to go through the process. So we know that recovery is one thing, but going through the process of recovery is going to be another, because guess what? They may relapse. And we want to be there for them in that process. So just because someone say, I'm going to get help, they may relapse again. And we want to be there again with open arms and saying, hey, we know that you're trying. We saw that you was clean for 2 years and now you relapse. Something happened. You lost a loved one. You lost a child. You lost your job, and it caused you to go back. And now you're going to your place of faith because that's where you're comfortable at. And we don't want you to have that process to be looked upon as a judgment. We want to have no judgment, no stigma. So no stigma, no judgment. And so we're going out into the churches. We've done some testimony videos with some of the churches that we've done in the past as well. And so we've been to places like Catholic churches, Muslim, Baptist churches, and non-denominational. And so most recently we went to Beacon Light, and we actually did that twice. And we did an interview with Pastor Eric, and we actually talked with him about how the toolkit had helped him a couple of years ago. And so we were able to come back again and impact 750 people. Why? Because now they had more people at the church. It was their college day. So we were not only just able to meet the needs of the older generation, we also had college students in the audience as well. In the table, when they came to us, they were asking questions, they were engaging, and we just get on the stage for our faith-based toolkit, and we talk to them for about 3 to 4 minutes, and we tell them about the opioid epidemic. We give them the numbers of opioid deaths at that time, and we tell them we have a free resource table in the back with free Narcan that you can have for your loved one, and you can just see them. Not everybody, but those that need it, they will say, I have a brother. He just came home yesterday.
Or at least now they know who to contact and how. And one thing I do love about your faith-based initiative is that you'll go out and speak to the congregations. And the toolkit itself has so many different facts to where you take the thinking out of it, but you bring a statistical approach to show people that we're not just talking about irrelevant things. This is impacting families across 7 parishes, and the work, we can't do it alone. We need your help. So from the church to the schoolhouse to those on the street to a friend, send this in a subtweet, but put it out. We're going to take the thinking out of it for you. And I encourage you to log on right now to CAHSD.org. Again, that's CAHSD.org or realhelpbr.com, because it's definitely important. And for you all, the social media platforms that you have, how do we follow you? How do we keep up with the movement? How do we help hit a retweet? Because it's just that important.
Yeah, well, we're on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. So Capital Area Human Services, just put it in a search bar and you'll find us.
Don't forget YouTube, because we have an awesome videographer as well, and he captures everything. Matter of fact, sometimes I go to events, I'm like, I didn't tell you to come, Timmy. I didn't know you was going to be here. But you can be able to watch a lot of videos as well on YouTube, and just even testimonial videos of those that have come out of recovery. There are videos that help others that are in that stage of recovery to continue to go for greater.
Right.
And not just our live events, we also have PSAs that we create and develop, all centered around substance use and substance abuse, short films, and, very, very, fine-tuned promotions that we have, that we're constantly cranking out. So make sure you catch those on our YouTube channel, please.
I'm gonna do you one better than that. I'm raising one solid, okay? I appreciate the hard work that you all are doing. I know the importance of it, and this is just a platform that God has allowed me to use. So I have to be responsible with the platform while I have it, because He is definitely going to ask me what I did with it while I had it. So what I can't control, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right and I'm doing it with the intent to cause more help than harm. So at least once a quarter, I need you in this hot seat. I need you on the tan line so we can talk about it, from the issues of opioids to Narcan to substance abuse, behavioral health, because you're not just talking about it in a bickering way. You're bringing resources, you're bringing hope, and you are definitely bringing healing to a hurting land. So let's do those PSAs. That's our commitment on behalf of Cumulus Media. I'll tell you that now. We'll do some PSAs and definitely the quarterly interviews to make sure that we're doing our part. And whenever you're planning those field trips for those drive-throughs, just let me know. That's on your bulletin board here, because this is an extension of your office. So whenever you have anything going on, if you don't call me, I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna be upset. I cry in public. You better ask Alicia. I cry in public.
Yes, and also if any organizations or businesses that want their staff to be trained in Narcan, we also provide Narcan training to businesses and organizations at no cost.
Excellent. And something about the word free motivates me. I know y'all have more work to do, but I want to encourage everyone, even if you have to send it out in the subtweet today, make sure that you send it out realhelpbr.com or CAHSD.org. Y'all doing it with style and grace. So look, chase the sun or let the sun chase you, but either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you.